Hello everybody and welcome to race day 5. We are in Donington Park in the UK once again. We started the season here. We're going to finish the season here. It's race day 5. It's Saturday. It's practice day. And I am very excited to see how our drivers get on in practice before the championship will be decided. Still a lot of work to do for any potential champion, but there are 6 people that can still win it all here in Donington. Absolutely fantastic racetrack to finish everything on. Here are some details about it. The track is for just over 4 kilometers. There are 12 corners, including 2 hairpin turns, which will be a big test for any driver wanting to go around them at any sort of speed. Here is the racing format for tomorrow. We will have a 15-minute qualifying session where the best time will get the best position before we go into race 1, a sprint race of 20 minutes. Based on those we will reverse for race 2. So if you finish first in race 1, you're going to finish 10. You're going to start 10 in race 2. Also, a pit stop is mandatory. Some more details of the track here. Again, a very interesting, difficult track for our drivers to get around. And it is cloudy. It's not a hot day. The ground is not burning up. So will affect car pressure, will affect the tyres. We'll have to see how the drivers compensate for that as practice has begun. There are very few. There are 6 drivers that can still win the championship. Those being Victor Lobato, David Perez, Raul Diago, Dennis Grabowski, Adam Pintes, and Jordi Clara. But between first, which is Victor Lobato currently on 578 points, and third being Raul Diago currently on 570 points, as you can see there, only 8 points separate them. There is a maximum of 200 points up for grabs tomorrow, which means any one of them could easily win the championship. Not too far behind, a bit of a dark horse pick is Dennis Grabowski, 70 points behind the leader. Still 100% doable, still 100% possible that Dennis Grabowski can come from behind and win it all. Bit further back, but still possible for them. Adam Pintes and Jordi Clara, they'll need a lot of luck to win it. They'll need some poor performances from the top 3 for sure, and a couple of wins maybe, but it is still possible. Behind that, you get Yannick van der Zande and Pedro Oliveira. Unfortunately, they are unable to win the championship, but a great performance on a track like this, and a higher finish. Higher finish means better points, means better reputation. And hey, it's momentum looking into the future. Speaking of some Dutchmen, we have Tony van der Linden now going around the track, coming around Old Hairpin. There's one of 2 hairpin turns, very difficult turns to go around hairpins, famously tight as he goes around Starkey's Bridge here. Starkey's Bridge looks a bit like a bridge, makes a lot of sense. One of those to easily point out as we go around this kind of track, as they show us around the cleans, followed by Cop Ice, the turn they're going around here. Quite a wide bend, really, you need to go out wide coming into it. Something to look for in the future. This is the big hairpin here, as this one is one that is definitely one to look for. It is called the Melbourne hairpin. Very interesting, and cars have a very difficult time going around it, so these drivers will have to be on their absolute best driving ability if they wish to go around those at skill. As you saw there, it was an issue for Aaron Hobson going around the first hairpin. As we know, it's called Old Hairpin, and it's a tough old turn. Aaron Hobson having some difficulty going around it. Up to Raul Diago, one of the championship contenders, Raul Diago. We'll have to see how he does on this track. Always performs in practice. Very impressive in practice. And someone to watch out for, as his time of 1:24, sorry. His time of 1:24. Will it be a positive time? It's currently the best time of anyone out there practicing, but it depends. All depends on the performance tomorrow. Today is just an indicator. It's a way for us all to learn the track. It's a way for us all to know how these drivers are going to handle the hairpins, how they're going to handle some of these more difficult portions of track. But there is still a lot to play for, and one of the interesting things about this track, one of the things that makes it so exciting with these many drivers coming around it, is that there are turns that are just killers, and they can be killers in minute 1, they can be killers in minute 40, so no driver is safe all the way through. They have to be absolutely perfect on some of these really difficult turns, as you can see Aldiago going around old hairpin there, very difficult turn, and at any possible time he could go off, he could have an issue. Raldiago, as you saw there, actually going round Starkey's Bridge, just finishing Starkey's Bridge, going into McLean's, where he had that issue there. But we've seen Raldiago on the Saturday during practice. He does have these issues. He has a couple of mistakes in him, for sure. But it's Sunday when he finds that consistency. Raldiago is without doubt the most consistent driver this season. As, if you were not aware, Raldiago has yet to finish lower than 4th. Which is very, very impressive. Unbelievable. The only person to finish higher than 4th. However, he only has 2 podium places, if my statistics are correct. What does that mean? That means that it's quite difficult for him, apparently, to get into those top places, to just push it just a little bit harder. He's going to have to, though, if he wants to win a championship, because I don't think 4th place will be good enough this time. Following a couple of cars here as we follow the model Shipwright car. And the Dave Capital car, if you're not aware, all of our cars are sponsored. Every single one of our cars has an absolutely fantastic sponsor for you to follow up and get involved with. As you can see, model Shipwright there is the car of Tony van der Linden, Dave Capital out there as well, as is Fish and Freights and Streeter. Model Shipwrights, I've mentioned it before, one of my favourites, absolutely beautiful car, very nice livery. If you want to get a livery, if you want to learn more about any of these fantastic sponsors, you can head on over to xsimracing.com to find out more. Bit of an issue there. Looks like Gregorio Perez says we're able to get past it without much issue. I think it was Tony van der Linden had an issue on Starkey's Bridge there. Bit of a difficult one, as you have to turn in and then come off. It's a misleading straight, I'd call it, coming into Cop Ice now. Going around into Starkey's Straight. This is far more of a straight. It's probably the only real straight of the entire track is Starkey's Straight, as again, I wouldn't necessarily consider Starkey's Bridge a straight. I think it's somewhat misleading. This is the Melbourne hairpin, a very difficult hairpin turn, in case you aren't aware of what a hairpin turn is. It is an incredibly tight turn. You got to turn on a dime, as they say, over across the pond in America, if you don't know that. Now you do. Yeah, some very interesting things here, and very interesting to see some of these times. We've got some, a 1:24 seems to be the time to beat a low 1:24, 1:24.6 there. So about middle way through there. Maybe these drivers want to improve it, get to maybe about a 1:24 dead, maybe even a 1:23, high 1:23s. And that is for us to find out as this race heads up into its later stages, as of course we are still in practice and there are about 10 minutes left of practice before we go into qualifying. If you are not aware, Saturday, practice day, we have qualifying and we have race 1. That's kind of what we simulate for tomorrow. We simulate practice, we simulate race 1. It's important to find out exactly how these guys are going to work, but race 2, the 40-minute race, that is saved for tomorrow. So, in case you are not aware, qualifying, there will be 15 minutes of qualifying after practice. All of the drivers will try and post their best time, the best time they can possibly do. Whoever has the fastest time in qualifying will get pole position and start in first place for the 20-minute premier race, the main event of today. a 20-minute race, round and round for 20 minutes. Whoever finishes first, and trust me, it will be very exciting. Raldiago in the Dream Factory Racing car, his classic sponsor, always emblazoned with Dream Factory Raldiago. Very fantastic driver and posting 1:24.4, which is again kind of the improvement we're looking to see. Can these guys improve on it? Probably. They've only been practicing on this track for 15 minutes today, so probably still a bit of warm-up, still some mistakes, especially on some of these tighter, more difficult turns where they want to get their mistakes and want to make sure they're getting it right and then build up the speed afterwards. Few drivers not here today, or not here yet, that have a chance to win tomorrow is 5 of them, and Victor Lobato, Victory Lobato as some would call him, is currently in first place on 578 points. He is the man to beat, and will he be beaten? That's the big question. Well, Victory Lobato, my apologies, currently has the most wins in X-SiM racing. He currently possesses 3 of the 8 races he has been victorious in, which is very impressive. That's a cool 300 points he's gained himself just off 3 races total, and considering he's on 578, that's about half his points gained in 3 of those races. David P. Perez as well, not here today, but very close, 576. If you did not watch our last season, Season 3, David P. Perez was the Season 3 champion. And when did he start the last race day in? I believe it was second. Maybe historians can correct me, but I believe he started the day in second and he finished it in first, narrowly taking out Daniel Herrera's spot. Very, very close race, and I'm sure that tomorrow will be equally as close. Quite a lot of BMWs out there today. Interesting to see. Anyone that's been watching this for a while may know my penchant for the Lamborghini, but the BMW is consistent and it is good. It's a good car around absolutely every track, and I think people in Lamborghinis may struggle today and struggle tomorrow, this entire weekend, as some of these sharp, tight turns with the Lamborghinis, difficult to control steering occasionally, may make for some very difficult days for our Lamborghini drivers. Though I hope they can pull it off and pull through and get some great races. I'm sure they will. They're great racers. They know how to deal with this kind of stuff. As we are currently watching Remco Barlow. He went around the Melbourne hairpin, again, quite slowly. All of these guys have to go around it slowly. Hairpins are just one of those turns you're not going to see speed at. What you're going to see is you're going to see precision. That's one of the most important things. If you can get a hairpin, it's all about precision. It's about how good your entry is and how good your exit is, exactly how well you're doing around that portion of the track, because there are major issues with going around too quickly. I would rather see a driver do a hairpin with perfect precision than going 50 miles faster, because I think in the long term that kind of precision is going to benefit you on the straights, whereas that kind of recklessness going into corners may cost drivers later on in the race. So I think we will definitely see far more precision driving today. Maybe it's a UK thing. Maybe the UK is about precision driving, whereas last week over in America we had some absolutely fantastic times, 250 miles an hour all over the shop. As we see now, Adam Pinty's coming into the hairpin at 180 miles an hour and slowing all the way down to 50. 50 on a track like this, 50 in racing like this is quite slow. You're heading at, you'd be allowed on a motorway with that kind of speed. And is that what full-on racing is about? Maybe so. Maybe on a track like this, where again precision is key, I would say. First turn here, red gate. Kind of an arbiter of things to come. Don't know what an orbiter is. Maybe it's a word I have just invented. If so, someone trademark it for me, because I am busy commentating on X-SiM Racing as you see him going into Old Hairpin now. Can he take it? He cannot. Adam Pinty's had an issue on Old Hairpin now. One of the things we were talking about, and Adam Pinty's still one of only 6 men to have a chance at winning the championship. But if he drives like that tomorrow, I'm sure that chance will be even slimmer. than it already is. You can see him coming into Old Hairpin now. Just too quickly. He just didn't have enough in his turn, and it cost him as he just went straight off into the grass. You could see there that it was just a major general issue. And we may see a few of those again, these hairpin turns, these very difficult turns. Even turn 11, the odd turn, as you come out that hairpin, is very, very tight indeed. And you really need to slow down and make sure you're doing it before you head into one of the straights coming out into the first corner. You can hit around 200 miles an hour. But again, if we were looking at the American track, they were hitting 250 with consistency. So compared to that, this is quite a slow track. 220 there from Remco Barlow, 230, very impressive for him going around there. And now we need to make sure he can get that hairpin, going around a hairpin that quickly. Very impressive Remco Barlow going around to Old Hairpin, coming on to Starkey's Bridge. As we were talking about, it's kind of a deceptive straight because it's straight, but there is a difficult turn coming into it and a difficult turn coming out. So you really can't build up too much speed unless you're going to make a mistake, as we've seen some drivers make mistakes already. One thing to mention is this is quite a quiet practice. There are only about 10 cars out there so far, potentially 9 with one more to come, which means that these guys have a lot of room to work. They really can just focus on their entries and then focus on their exits. Tomorrow's race, there will be maybe potentially up to 40 cars plus. What that means is it's going to be a packed racetrack. You're going to have very little space, so precision, again, making sure you know the turns, you know where you're turning is so important, because you may not have the space you think you do, and you may have to react, well, you 100% will have to react to other drivers on the track. It is not a place for the faint-hearted, and it is not a place for the careless. Here at Donington Park in the UK. If you don't know where we are, that's where we are. That is where we are finishing. Oh, Tony van der Linden there, interrupting a bit of my presentation with a crash. Comes around Old Hairpin there, coming into Starkey's Bridge. Mistakes were made, onto the grass. Another grassy track, in case you're not aware. Grass really affects the tyres. You come onto it a little bit, and you just lose absolutely all of your control. It is a disaster. Grass contact, and it can really affect your turns. And for a track with such precision, grass is a nightmare. You wonder why we have grass. What's grass even used for? I don't know. I exclusively know about racing, so I don't see why grass and racing have in common. Anyway, back to where I was before I was so rudely interrupted with exciting driving. We are at Donington Park in the UK. Race day 5. We are finishing up season 4. Who will win? There are 6 candidates. In first place currently is Victor Lobato with 578 points. Just behind him, and I mean just, to a level that is uncomfortably close for all involved. David P. Perez, 576, and Ronaldo Argo not too far behind either of them. And by not too far behind, I mean touching their shoulders. He is with 570, only 8 points between first and third. If you're not aware, you have a whole 200 points potentially gained. That is close. Denis Grabowski still feels like he has a chance, though he is somewhat of an outsider, having only 508 points, being 70 points behind. So if you are rooting for a dark horse, you may well be rooting for Denis Grabowski. Then in the very, very unlikely, they're praying for a miracle. Adam Pinese's Jordi Clara are praying for a miracle, as they have 130 points to catch. 132 for Adam Pinese's, 133 for Jordi Clara. That's very unlikely, because not only do they have to have fantastic performances, you're talking about wins, you're talking about podium places in both races. You also have to make sure Victor Lobato, David P. Perez, and Ronaldo Argo, they're not even getting top 10, because 2 top 10 places will be enough to get 70 points, which is just going to take you too far. Uncatchable. So Jordi Clara and Adam Pinesees, if either of them want the championship, they are going to hope that their birthday and Christmas and all of their presents come in one day, and that day is tomorrow. Whether they win it or not, whether the miracle happens, whether Grabowski comes back, or whether it's just between one of the 3 favourites, all I can promise is unbelievable excitement. However, we are just heading into qualifying, and I can promise you there will be excitement to be had today, as Raul Diago, Remco Barlow and Adam Pinesees, three fantastic drivers. Tristan Klopp, also a good driver, having a good day today, not really in any contention, also has a absolutely lovely car. The Kuvarit car, I believe it is. No, it's the Model Shipwright car. We've seen Tristan Klopp in the Kuvarit car before, I believe, but today he's in my favourite car, the Model Shipwright car. Not my favourite, that's harsh. I just really like the livery, it's very pretty. It's in my head, what can I say? Anyway, we are moving in to qualifying, another little look. The overall track, bit of a ship, and a little bit of a look at the weather, 11 kilometers per hour, not too heavy on the wind there. The cloud is cloudy, which means it's not a hot day. The sun's not beating down upon this track. That will affect tyres, that will affect grip. It'll be interesting to see how these guys deal with that. It's probably on the upside of ideal for racing, but we see currently Remco Barlow going out for his first lap time. In case you are not, that's Tristan Klopp actually. Remco Barlow at the bottom there, currently the one with his sectors, but Tristan Klopp is the man in the old Model Shipwright car after coming around Starkey's Bridge and going into Copperit. Cop-Ice, my apologies, I'm all over the place. In case you are not aware, those bars at the bottom, that is the sectors. Eventually they will fill up. A green sector means you have bettered your own time in that sector. A yellow section will mean that you have done worse, and a pink section means you have the best time of any driver in that entire section. So each of these guys are looking for an entire pink bar. They're looking for the pink bars all round, but it is very unlikely as each of these guys has their own strengths, each of them driving consistently 15 minutes of qualifying. In case you're not sure what happens after qualifying, we will head into a 20-minute race and your qualifying time will determine your starting position in that 20-minute race. So Remco Barlow, as you can see there, some green bars filling up, meaning he probably has a pretty good position going into one of these times, but there is still 13 minutes for these guys to improve. Coming around Old Hairpin now, let's see how he takes it. Very narrow, wants to take that at crazy speed there, very, very well done. Maybe the way to do it is to take it narrow, go and almost try and flick yourself off the corner. We'll have to see exactly how that plays out later, and how many drivers decide to take it safe going a little wide around that hairpin, and how many drivers just decide to try and go as narrow as possible coming out over into Starkey's Bridge, Starkey Straight. Now each of these drivers, this is where you build up a lot of speed, but you got some difficult turns ahead of you coming into the S's. Starkey Straight comes into the S's. I'm not sure exactly why it's called an S's. It seems like there would only be one S, but we've seen weirder names, I assure you, coming into one of the most difficult turns possible. It's Melbourne Hairpin, because Australia has something to do with the UK, I'm sure. Coming around Goddard's and looking to finish a lap. Let's have a look at the qualifying times so far. Let's have a look and see who currently is in pole position. It is Tristan Klopp, the only man to post a time, quickly beaten by Remco Barlow, and a 1:25, almost flat, is the time to beat. Currently, most people have yet to qualify, but most people are looking to do it now. In case you are not aware, in case you don't know, because I'm a very careful person, I say in case a lot, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Whether you have been watching racing your entire life, or whether you've been watching it for exactly 3 minutes and 50 seconds, 42 seconds, my apologies. I want everyone to be just as caught up with each other. If you go onto the grass, if you leave the track, your qualifying time will not be counted, meaning you have to have a run that is purely tarmac. You need to make sure you don't make too many errors, go too far off the track, otherwise you will have to start again. And on a track like this, it is very, very easy to go off. Another narrow track. The UK does not like width in their tracks. They like some tighter tracks. Not incredibly tight, it's probably more normal, but I would say it's verging on the narrower side, unless you're going around there and then it's very wide, because, as always, racetracks like to prove me wrong. I swear they have a mind of their own. Coming around now, following Remco Barlow. As you can see, in case you are not aware, the green bar on the left side, oh, I'm in my head now. The green bar on the left side determines exactly whose car we're following, so in case you're not aware, in case I don't bring it up, the green bar on the side there will show exactly who we are following, which is why we are currently following Remco Barlow. The best time has been surpassed by Raul Diago there, a 124.9. Is that 0.9 or 0.8? It's a little fuzzy for me. However, it is better than Remco Barlow's time. As you can see, it is a 0.9. 124.9 there from Raul Diago. He's done better. He's got himself a 124.6. He's got himself a 124.5. That's what he's looking to finish his qualifying time with. However, if he can finish first, I'm sure it doesn't matter exactly what his qualifying time is. Pole position is all that matters. Pole position, very important, but if you have seen some of these previous races, you will know that your start to a race is also vital. We have seen people in first place drop to third and have to spend an entire race catching up simply because their start was poor. It's a lot of work to get back what you worked so hard for in qualifying, and it is one of the most interesting things about racing, how quickly you can lose all that you've worked for, how concentration, commitment is so key. Focus is everything. Melbourne hairpin now. We see Martin Hobson. Can he take it nicer than he has previous? He does indeed. Takes it quite wide though. Interesting. Let's see. Can Martin Hobson get himself a qualifying time? And if so, what qualifying time will it be? Quite a few men practicing have been conducting interviews with me. Martin Hobson does very well, a 125.5. Not too shabby. Martin Hobson going to start in third place if everything stays the same. Martin Hobson, one of those men that did a little chat with me, had a sit-down interview. We're going to release it when we release it, but he was absolutely fantastic. Remco Barlow and Raul Diago, the same. All of them, I have talked about their X-SiM racing career, their future in X-SiM racing, and who they are, what kind of driver they are. Everything you want to know about these guys, we covered. And maybe, just maybe, it's affecting their standing, because first, second, third have all done interviews with me. I'm not saying I'm a lucky charm, but I'm a lucky charm. Following Gregorio Perez now, another time to talk about sponsors. As Gregorio Perez comes into the old turn, each and every single one of these cars is sponsored by each of our fantastic sponsors, as you can certainly see. The Caribbean Pacific Trading car there. Fantastic car. Some of these have done sponsors with them also. It's Caribbean Pacific Trading and Consultants. Great car there. All these guys very great. As you can see, Raul Diago usually sits himself in the Dream Factory car. That is the one that he is known for. Martin Hobson is currently representing Dave Capital, and Remco Barlow representing Empire Seafood. Absolutely great for each and every one of these guys. A good time there. Top Auto Servicing and Repairs wanted to get a shout out of their own, decided to make a mark by pushing themselves up into second. Adam Pinty's one of the contenders for tomorrow's championship. Jumps himself up, and now the top four are all BMWs. In case you are not aware, let's get a counter, if you let's get a counter for how many times I say "in case you are not aware." For some reason, it's my line of the day, so I'm sure I'll say it forever and ever. In case you are not up to date and you want to learn more about our fantastic sponsors, or you want to become a sponsor yourself, you can head over to xsimracing.com and find out everything you need to know about our fantastic sponsors, about everything about this fantastic company. As we can see there, Remco Barlow, bit of an issue there going around one of the turns. And that is the difficulty. Speed and mistakes are critical and can cost you big. Fortunately for him, we are only in qualifying and he's already posted a pretty good qualifying time, meaning that crashes like that, little errors, aren't going to affect him as much as they will in an actual race, and it's better to learn some of your mistakes, especially on practice day on Saturday, than it is to repeat them tomorrow. So he's going to thank his stars that it was only qualifying, that he's already got himself a nice time to improve upon sit himself in the pits for a little while, get his car all fixed up and come back out with a vengeful attitude on this track. Another look, a slow-mo look at Tony van der Linden and his fantastic livery. Really great that we have the slow-mo looks, allows you to really soak in some of these looks, some of these beautiful cars. And fantastic here coming out of the first turn. That's Redgate coming into the hairpin. It's old hairpin. Again, takes it narrow, but I would say a bit of an error there. He took it narrow and was unable to recover it, Tony van der Linden. And it cost him a little bit there as he came on off to the grass. He was too narrow and he couldn't get in. He couldn't take the wide. He took it a little too wide. One of the things to follow is, can you take it narrow enough that you're actually doing well for yourself? You know, there is somewhat of a worry there. That's going around. Et is there. Tony van der Linden currently going around Starkey straight, looking to go into the Melbourne hairpin. And then we're following in the green is Tony van der Linden, as we can follow him now into the hairpin. Let's see how he takes it. Is he going to go narrow? Once again, he is going to go very narrow indeed, but this time at a reasonable speed that allows him to take the wide out into the straight before coming around into Goddard's. Narrow again. You really, not the worst idea to be narrow and then exit into a wide portion of the track. However, again, the closer you get into that narrow, the less speed, the less time you have to get a good exit. So it's really risk and reward. A lot of driving is risk, reward, patience. Will it pay off? Can you be consistent? Can you be focused? Can you be on top of your racing enough to get everything you want? As you could see there, Tony van der Linden, the second time, he didn't take that hairpin nearly as narrow. Really not as narrow coming out into Starkey's Bridge, and I think he probably benefited from him. He wasn't able to take it as narrow that time, which meant he had a little bit more on his exit, which improved and meant that Starkey's Bridge he took far faster. I think that by itself will improve Tony van der Linden's time overall if he can get that consistent. Maybe I'm wrong, but we will have to see on Tony van der Linden there. Let's see what issue arose here. Just far too wide. Tried to take it too wide. Tries to come back on, and his car very difficult to control while it's on the sand and the grass. Caused a little bit of a back and forth, bit of a tail shake there. But a lovely car nonetheless from Qualifier. There is only 2 minutes left. 2 minutes 10 seconds left of qualifying. Most of these guys are not going to have many more chances to improve upon their position. People like Antonio Salada and Carlos Roca, they need a good time and they need it soon. Otherwise they are going to start this race in 9th and 10th place. Not impossible to win a race from 9th place or 10th place, as we've seen many times, especially in the second 40-minute race. In 20 minutes it's far harder than it is in 40 minutes when you have far more time, far more strategy involved than in a 20-minute race where it's really just about pure skill with a wheel. Pure skill with a wheel in your hand and 4 wheels on the ground. But still very important and still possible to win a race from 10th, but they will 100% want to improve on that. Looks like he went off on purpose there, either to go into the pits to refuel or for some other miscellaneous reason, but what we know is I'm pretty sure he went off on purpose there and it wasn't a mistake. Raldiago looks like he will have the best qualifying time, a 1:24.7, slightly worse than practice, but overall still quite a bit better than everybody else's and worthy of a first place if it remains the same going around Starkey Straight now. Wow, Raldiago really taking those S's at pace before coming into the hairpin. How narrow will he take it? Not that narrow, slightly wider than I imagined he would, but clearly his times have been showing the benefits of taking it a little bit wider. So perhaps that is the way to do it. Perhaps going a little bit wider will save you in the long run. but I am no professional driver. I just commentate on fantastic professional drivers from the comfort of my own home. Very little time left in qualifying. Let's see how this finishes up. We're looking at Raldiago going to take pole position once again. How many times, especially on the Saturday, do we say Raldiago takes pole position? It is the place he is most comfortable with. Adam Pinesies, like in the championship standings, is a little bit behind him, not too far behind. Catchable, though difficult. We'll see Remco Barlow has had a fantastic season. Obviously, unable to capture the championship, as we've talked about the 6 men that still can, but Remco Barlow still has an opportunity to do well, still has an opportunity to make himself proud with this qualifying. He did well, 3rd place. Let's see how he translates into an actual race as we get into the main event of Saturday, the 20-minute race. Each and every one of these guys going to have to be at their best to get round the difficult twists and the difficult turns of Donington Park here in the UK. Each and every one of them want that momentum. So important on a racetrack, so important to have that mental advantage. It helps you focus, it helps you with your determination, it helps you make correct decisions. And a win on a Saturday, for me, that gives you motivation into a Sunday, that gives you the momentum you need to perform. I think if Raldiago wants to win the championship overall, he wants to have a good race right here, right now. He wants to set a marker of performance. Adam Pinesies the same. How impressive would it be? How much of a stamp, how much of a marker would it be if Adam Pinesies was able to win today and say, don't count me out, 200 points, I can catch. Adam Pinesies can still win Top Auto's servicing and repairs car. And if he wins today, maybe that's a fortuitous, maybe that is the Robin heralding the snow. Victor Lobato, though, still very impressive with 578 points. David P. Perez just behind him with 576. And Raldiago, 570. Only 8 points between 1st and 3rd. Those 3 are the favourites. You still have Dennis Grabowski. He's still able to catch. He is the dark horse. Currently, as we get into it, it's race day 5, it's Saturday, and Raldiago will start in pole position. Adam Pinesies will not start far behind him. Remco Barlow 3rd, Martin Hobson taking 4th place. Justin Klopp will take 5th, Aaron Hobson will take 6th. Gregorio Perez 7th, Tony Vanderlyn 8th, Carlos Roca 9th, and in last place, but not too far behind, is 10th, Antonio Salada. You can win a race from 10th place. Can Antonio Salada win a race from 10th place? From the back to the front, the start is so important. Positions may change rapidly, or may not change at all. It all depends on how focused, how quickly these guys can get those cars moving. Well, we've seen before, Raldiago can be a victim of this. He can be a victim of quick starts, especially when he takes pole position. People have been able to surprise him and get in front of him early, take that and make him work incredibly hard on winning it back, make him pressure, make him do all the work. And again, the more work you end up doing, the less patient you are, the more likely you are to make a mistake. And especially on Donington Park, mistakes are easy and costly. This race will get started. 20 minutes. Who's going to win? Let's find out.
Green flag.
And they're off. Carlos Roca, Tony van der Linden dropping just a little bit. Remco Barlow already overtaking Adam Pinesies. Not great start from him. Carlos Roca jumping up massively. Raldiago and Pinesies jumping up to 2nd. Back, taking it back from Remco Barlow. Carlos Roca again jumps up. Antonio Salada, Gregorio Perez. And that's the first mistake. Gregorio Perez drops all the way down into it. Antonio Salada seems to have had an issue as well. Both men seem to have been involved in the crash there. That's really going to affect their final standings as each band goes into Starkey's Bridge. They all go around the hairpin. Not too many issues there. Adam Pinesies still chasing down Raldiago. Raldiago was able to keep pole position there. Everyone goes around Starkey's Bridge, seemingly unscathed now, coming into Cop Ice. Not a place we've seen many mistakes, but a race maybe when the mental side of the game is affecting you. During qualifying, during practice, you aren't in a race, and I think that really can affect the psyche of some of these drivers. Just the thought of, I'm competing, I'm against other top levels. There's a lot of fun involved, but there is pressure. Even on practice, each and every one of these guys wants to give as good a performance as they possibly can, all going around the hairpin. Really impossible to overtake at a hairpin, I would say. If we see an overtake at a hairpin, on anything other than a crash, anything other than someone just falling off the hairpin, I will be surprised. I think it's really the place for conservative driving. And Donington Park is a conservative raceway. It's really about maximising those very small moments you have and minimising your own risk while being patient and waiting for the risks and the mistakes of others. Martin Hobson has to do that if he wants to overtake Remco Barlow. Remco Barlow has a mistake in him, though. Again, also has some very, very quick times, and as seen around here, has made some very impressive performances before. Tristan Klopp, 5th for him, not too bad at all, looking to chase down Martin Hobson. What I just said about Martin Hobson chasing down Remco Barlow applies from Tristan Klopp and Martin Hobson. It'll be interesting to see how this race develops, as we are only a 10th in. Martin Hobson has overtaken Remco Barlow as they go around cop ice there. Looked like he just caught him on the inside, had a bit more speed to him. Remco Barlow looking to take his position back, and perhaps Martin Hobson and Remco Barlow will be the battle of the day. Seems like Tristan Klopp had also overtaken Remco Barlow there. Remco Barlow looking to have some work to do. A couple of mistakes there from him cost him a couple of positions. Here's the replay as we see Tristan Klopp on the inside, powers past Remco Barlow and has positional advantage as the corner was facing Tristan Klopp, meaning his inside lane was able to cut off Remco Barlow coming in there. Martin Hobson now not too far behind. None of these cars are too far behind. Perhaps Gregorio Perez and Antonio Solada are a little too far behind. Antonio Solada especially looks like he is out of this race. Tristan Klopp, Remco Barlow retakes his position. Remco Barlow made the mistake there, but is a consistent driver and is able to get positional advantages back in his favour. Martin Hobson still chasing down Adam Pites, and it looks like Raul Diago is gaining daylight, which is exactly what Adam Pites doesn't want. If I had a bingo card of things Adam Pites doesn't want, seeing daylight between him and Raul Diago would be on that bingo card as they all go around cop ice now. Consistency is key. Martin Hobson, it would be very impressive for him to take second. Again, Adam Pites is a championship contender. Martin Hobson has told me in one of his interviews, a little sneak peek for that a top 10 finish, top 10 in championship standings is kind of his goal. It's what he's looking towards. It's the next step up in his X-SiM racing career, and if he can overtake Adam Pites, that is a statement of intent for Martin Hobson. That is a clear sign of progression, as Adam Pites, again, still a championship contender. If you can beat a championship contender or even run them right down to the wire, I think top 10 is 100% achievable, and I think Martin Hobson is very much good enough to achieve top 10, so he desire it. Antonio Solada is coming back out of the pits, which is nice to see. He's currently 2 laps behind Gregorio Perez, so he won't catch him. So Antonio Solada is going to enjoy 10th place, I believe, barring any sort of miracle. We talked about whether Antonio Solada could win the race from 10th. No, I'll tell you, it is somewhat of a spoiler. Only 5 minutes in, only a quarter of the way in. No, he can't. No, he's 3 laps behind. He's not going to finish anywhere other than 10th place. But that's not where the excitement is. The excitement is in 1st place, 2nd place, and 3rd place, especially. Can Martin Hobson overtake a championship contender in Adam Pites? That's what he's looking to do. And it'll be very impressive, even in a practice race, if he can do so. Antonio Solada there. Here's a replay of him rejoining the race. Bravely fighting on. Everyone, I'm sure, waving at him, though that would be very unsafe. One of the positives of X-SiM racing is that all these guys potentially could. Wouldn't that be nice? They could all wave at him, as even if everyone crashed, they'd all be okay. Cars may be damaged, prides may be damaged, but bodies. Their physical well-being is safe in simulated racing. One of my favourite things about it. You get all the excitement of fast-paced, intense, skillful driving, and you don't have to worry about them all crashing horribly. Isn't that nice? Aaron Hobson chasing down Tristan Klopp, not too far behind him. Ooh, almost 3.5 seconds between Raul Diago and Adam Pinesies. Raul Diago is driving this track round. Very impressive from Raul Diago. That's very, very impressive. 3 seconds already gained upon Adam Pinesies again, who is no pushover in any way, shape or form. We're only 6 minutes in, and Raul Diago has already gained that kind of daylight. I think that is a man who is determined to see a championship. Antonio Solada's having a good time. He's having somewhat of a good time there. He went off on the grass for a bit of a jaunt. He wanted to see what was over there. Maybe he saw a rabbit. Maybe he just wanted to see what was over there. Raul Diago sees nothing but horizons. Raul Diago sees nothing but championship crowns, championship gold in his future. And what a performance he is currently putting on. Raul Diago putting on a clinic here at Donington Park. He wants to teach everyone exactly why he is going to be champion. Whether he will be or not, you will have to come back tomorrow and see which of our 3 main contenders could potentially still win it. Victor Lobato, Dave P. Perez, or currently 3rd place Raul Diago, though if he drives like this tomorrow, I'm not sure if he will be 3rd place or if he may even win this entire thing. It's certainly what he's looking to do. However, saying that there are only 3 contenders would be a disservice to the men that have done so well over the 8 races we have currently had going into the 9th and 10th race, which we will see tomorrow. Denis Grabowski, the favourite of the underdog. He's got a ways to go. He's got 70 points to gain. Oh, Martin. Oh, no. So unfortunate for Martin Hobson. He was doing so well and really showed off a lot of his skills, but we talk about consistency, and Martin Hobson still has some work to do in that department as he makes an error on a tight corner and drops all the way back into 8th. A lot of work to do for Martin Hobson if he wants any hope of catching anybody. It seems unlikely. Such a shame to see there. He was doing so well again. He was really pushing Adam Pinesies to the limit for about a quarter of this race, almost a third of this race. And there is no shame in doing so. But his dreams of a 2nd place finish, his dreams of taking over a championship contender were dashed with that one mistake. Martin Hobson now. Some small mistakes creeping into his game. Some issues with his car, I'm sure. Seems like that crash, that contact has affected his car, maybe even wanting to pit. Has some real issues going around there. Martin Hobson does pit. Yeah, really, some issues with his car is what I could see there. Coming out now, and perhaps Antonio Solada won't finish last. Perhaps Antonio Solada has a 9th place to fight for, though that is still unlikely. Antonio Solada is still very far behind. Raul Diago, what a race he is having. Adam Pinesies again could win a championship tomorrow. It's very unlikely. I'm not saying it'll happen, but Adam Pinesies could win this entire season tomorrow, but currently he is being absolutely outclassed by Raul Diago. This is not a fortune teller's prediction that Adam Pinesies wanted to see when he read through his tarot cards this morning. He did not want to see Raul Diago will be 6 seconds ahead of you in 10 minutes. That's not what... I don't know if tarot cards get that specific. I hope so. I don't know why you would use them if they don't specifically talk about racing times. But if they do, then that's not what he wanted to see, as times will be changing. But Raul Diago, very, very impressive. We're going off round Old Hairpin, going into Starkey's Bridge. Raul Diago goes around Starkey's Bridge. Do I even have to tell you that he does it with such a grace and such speed? It's absolutely fantastic, Raul Diago. Just look at how he takes this. It's so smooth. You'd imagine that there was nowhere else for him to go with how smooth it is, and it seems like even when he goes off just a little bit, it's actually, that's a part of the track and you're wrong. We're wrong as an audience for thinking, oh, people called Hobson are having a bad race, apparently. Aaron Hobson now, the man to make a mistake. Just that bloody grass again. Whoa! That was very, very close to a serious crash there. Luckily, no more harm was done. But once again, the crash, he tries to correct his car, and it flips, and it just comes out of control. His tail whips him round, and he ends up going backwards through over the track, treating it like a bridge, and there was almost some serious contact there. Tony van der Linden did not want to see that. No issues there. Looks fortunate to me. Wow, Gregorio Perez-Sesma does very, very well indeed to avoid that, to swerve his car, and I'm quite impressed that he was able to keep it on track there, Gregorio Perez-Sesma. Great driving from him to keep his car and regain control of it in such difficult circumstances. Diago is still in first place, is still controlling this race. Adam Pinty's 7 seconds behind him, verging on 8. There is so much work to be done. It is unbelievable. Remco Barlow is only 0.7 of a second behind. That is catchable in 8 minutes. Will Remco Barlow snatch 7th from Adam Pinty's? Raldiago, barring any major mistakes, has won this race. 7 seconds is an unbelievable gap, and Raldiago is running this track like it is his own. But Remco Barlow and Adam Pinty's is now the contest. Who will take 7th? Second. Who will take 7th is a different story, and I don't believe it will be Adam Pinty's or Remco Barlow. I believe those two. 7th, if I gave them 7th now, they would wonder just what went wrong. Justin Klopp 6 seconds behind, so Adam Pinty's and Remco Barlow really 2nd and 3rd are what they are looking to get, but which order will they get it in? 6 seconds, Justin Klopp gaining a little bit of daylight on Carlos Roca now, and as you can see, these gaps are starting to show. It's because there are fewer cars is why we have seen a smaller number and some bigger gaps opening up today. The more cars means it's very difficult to get yourself a slipstream. It's very difficult to get close to cars, build up that speed because of it. And all of the cars are starting to separate as the track is too long for them to be so close to each other over the course of 20 minutes. Tomorrow, we will see much closer times. We will have very close fights all over the place as each and every one of these guys tries to go around these narrow turns and these difficult straights with about 1,000 billion cars, and that is not an exaggeration. It's a bit of an exaggeration. There'll be something like 30 more cars on the track around there, but that will clog it up quite considerably. Remco Barlow still trying to chase down Adam Pinty's, both men going around that corner, taking it quite wide. Remco Barlow still being quite cautious. If you haven't seen my interview with Remco Barlow, he told me what kind of driver he said, and he said aggressive yet cautious. Now those sound like opposites, but what he means is when he sees an opportunity, he will 100% take it, but he's also not a foolish driver. Remco Barlow is a man who waits for the opportunity and then takes it aggressively, and that is exactly the kind of driver you want to see. He's someone who has goals and will work hard for them, will reach them, will reach up the leaderboards, but can he catch Adam Pinty's? Raldiago is still miles away, actively uncatchable. It would take a crash from Raldiago for any kind of race to the top to be on. Raldiago, unlikely. I think Raldiago is probably aware of some of the distance between him and everyone else and is willing to take it nice and easy. Make sure that there are no mistakes in his game. Make sure he is as prepared as possible for tomorrow. And based on this race, Raldiago is ready. Raldiago is doing his Rocky montage as we speak. He is gaining exactly what he needs. Will he have the ability to win the Season 4 championships? Raldiago, I believe the Season 2 championship winner. Last season it was David Perez. Both men can add another to their cabinet. Victor Lobardo, Dennis Grabowski, Adam Pintes, and Jordi Clara, of course, also looking to gain championship gold, though the final three are unlikely. Jordi Clara had such a fantastic first race last weekend, dashed, and it seemed like Jordi Clara's comeback, Jordi Clara's climb to the championship had real weight. Could he get back so late on into the campaign? Could he make it with such a fantastic first race? Jordi Clara raced so fantastically, but unfortunately the fates conspired against him as an early crash cost him, and he ended up only getting 9 points, I believe it was, in race 2, which is the main reason why he is so far behind everyone else and why he has such a small chance of winning a championship. Will the fates be kind to him? Will the fates say, sorry about that, mate, let me make it up to you and win you a championship? Maybe. But not if Raul Diago has anything to say about it, and Raul Diago has a lot to say. His driving is doing all the talking for him, and it is giving a big, long speech about how great he is. Just fantastic. Ron Caballo is still trying to catch, however, the gap has widened. We are looking at 1 point something seconds now. I believe that's 1.6 seconds between him and Adam Pintes, and there is considerable distance to be made in 3 minutes. It is looking very unlikely. All of these places are looking fairly stationary, and it looks like this will be a race of consistency and a race of just how well these guys can do laps. We're going to spend these final couple minutes just thinking about, and these drivers are going to do the same, they're going to think about tomorrow. They're going to look at this track, they're going to focus, they're going to think about every turn, they're going to think, how do I take this turn tomorrow? What will this turn mean tomorrow? What might be around tomorrow? What would I do if there was a car on the narrow trying to overtake me? If I had to go wide around a turn I really didn't want to, if I had to go around Old Hairpin, a turn we've seen drivers go narrow on, but if everyone goes narrow, it's going to be difficult to get that positional advantage. Who's going to take it? Who's going to take this race? Who is going to win the championship? These are the questions. This is why I'm so excited for tomorrow. This has been a fun day of racing, no doubt, and I thank you very much for joining me. But tomorrow will be electric. Tomorrow will be ecstatic. Tomorrow we'll see a crowning of a champion. Some people this weekend may have been celebrating the Jubilee in the UK, but at Donington Park, we will be crowning a completely different kind of royalty. A royalty in driving. A champion. 6 men can do it. Which one will? Martin Hobson, doing donuts at the moment. Just having a bit of fun. Has been overtaken by Thomas Linden. Gets out of his way. Thank you very much, Martin. Little bit unfortunate there. Yeah. Really finding it difficult to get himself back on the track there. And it may look somewhat silly, but let's not forget about just how good Martin Hobson was for the first quarter of this race. He's made some mistakes. His car has had some trouble since his first error. But Martin Hobson started this race showing all the potential he has and why he, in the future, could 100% be a top 10 driver over the course of a season. Before we finish this race and before we announce the winner, will be Raul Diago. Just a bit of a spoiler there. Let's have one more talk about those fantastic sponsors. Each and every one of these cars is sponsored, Raul Diago, by Dream Factory. And all the cars, that's why they have these fantastic liveries that they do. Raul Diago's going to win now, just nice and quickly, in the Dream Factory car. Looks like he has one more lap to do, passed it just before the time ran out. So Raul Diago, somewhat of a victory lap, let's call it, but mistakes could still be made, I suppose, in this last lap. Just wanted to get one more out, didn't want to slow down at all and get himself the final lap. He wanted this to be the final lap now. So, gives me more time to talk about our fantastic sponsors. Each and every one of these cars sponsored. That's why we have these fantastic liveries. That is why all of X-SiM Racing works as fantastically as it does. If you want to learn more, if you want to maybe become a sponsor yourself, you can head over to xsimracing.com find out more, figure out more. Some of these beautiful ones, model shipwright, a favourite of mine. Empire Seafood is Remco Barlow's. Tristan Klopp is currently in the model shipwright car. Raldiago in the Dream Factory car. Can I have a look at what car Adam Pinties is in? I can't remember exactly what it's called. Just have a quick look there. Yes, the Top Autos car. How could I forget? Very nice car as well. I love the badge. Very, very nice looking car there. Whoever created that did a wonderful job. Again, figure out more, find out online, xsimracing.com. We'll see Raldiago wins the race. Congratulations, Raldiago. It was a foregone conclusion for a while, but he had to be consistent. He had to make no major crashes, and no major crashes he did. Adam Pinties takes second. Unfortunately, Remco Barlow put up a fight for a while, but was not able to keep up with a championship contender. Tristan Klopp looks like he's going to get himself a respectable 4th place, a good improvement on what has been somewhat difficult season for Tristan Klopp. Not exactly where he wants to be. Gregorio Perez gets himself 5th place. And looks like all of these positions will be as follows. Carlos Roca is going to finish in 6th. And Hobson going to get himself a 7th place. Tony van der Linden an 8th. Martin Hobson going to finish 9th. And Antonio Salada 10th. Unfortunately, Antonio Salada, we did talk about him briefly and talk about whether he could get first from 10th. Then he very, very quickly crashed, got stuck in the pits for an age, and then stayed in 10th for the entire race, which was somewhat of a caster's curse. Antonio, if you have anyone to blame for a poor race today, you can blame me. But don't worry, because tomorrow is where the points can be found, which means you can still win both races tomorrow. Get yourself 200 points. It is possible. All you have to do is not make the mistakes you made today. But a really fantastic day of racing. All these guys did themselves very, very proud. Tony van der Linden, there he goes. He finishes in 8th place, does Tony van der Linden. Really impressive from all of these guys. Great day of racing. And we all learned something about Donington Park, about how it runs, about how it moves, about how it breathes. Raldiago tamed Donington Park today. Can he do it tomorrow and get himself a championship title? For that, we'll have to wait and see. And perhaps you will join us tomorrow. As you can see, 0 points today, which means that all the points can be found tomorrow. There are 200 if you won both races. 80 for 2nd. 70 for 3rd. Meaning that 8 points between 1st and 3rd. You win 100 points per race. And there's only 8 points between 1st and 3rd, meaning a 1st place finish will put either of the top 3 in 1st position. It is very important to stay absolutely glued to your screen tomorrow and figure out exactly what's going to happen. Thank you very much for joining us today. It was a fantastic day of racing. It was a very interesting day of racing as we learn exactly how Donington Park works and what to expect for the finale of Season 4. It's race day 5. It's races 9 and 10. We'll see him tomorrow. We'll see a champion crowned. Thank you for joining me.